Good morning, Kitchee. It is Saturday, June the 28th. This is a video version of the 443rd Kitchee Weekly Ward newsletter. This afternoon, I'm standing in beautiful McCormick Park. There is lots more information about all the topics that we'll discuss in the weekly email newsletter, to which you can subscribe at kitcheeward.ca. I think I've got a relatively brief one for you this week. Let's jump right in. I will be hosting pop-up office hours on July the 15th from 1 until 4 p.m. at Champlin Park. If it's raining, look for me inside the field house. These will be the last pop-up office hours before I put them on their customary summer hiatus. Pop-ups are an opportunity to come by anytime during those hours, chat with me one-on-one about whatever is on your mind. Also in the newsletter this week, the Committee of Adjustment is going to meet on July 9th. There are two properties in our ward on the agenda of that meeting. At 673 Tweedsmuir, the owner has applied to subdivide the property into two separate parcels of land for the construction of two long semi-detached dwellings, each of which would have additional dwelling units. And at 200 Clearview, that's the tall infill tower at the Clearview Towers, the owner has applied to permit reduced setbacks to a private way, reduced width of a private way, and an increased width of a double traffic lane for the construction of their 25-story, 187-unit apartment building. Sounds like they're just messing around with the size of the driveways within that site. This one's a little bit out of left field. At 1657 Carling Avenue, we've received an application for a 28-story building with 370 dwelling units, 154 residential parking spaces, 30 visitor parkings, and 374 bicycle parking spots. This is it's currently a one-story strip mall on Carling Avenue. Normally I have a bit more heads up on this before there's an application that goes online, but the material for that one is all online now, and I will be hosting an open house to take a look at the details sometime in the very near future. The Byron protected intersection that the city is going to install there has generated a little bit of email to my office in opposition to doing that. The key thing to know about that one is that it would take away the left-hand turn lane that is northbound. So going from northbound Churchill onto westbound Byron, that turn lane would go. I've had a couple of notes of folks who are concerned that that will clog traffic up there. I've written a big blog post to which I would point people, particularly in the wake of an excellent interview that Councillor Johnson recently did on the subject of pedestrian safety at intersections. The CAA did a big survey across Canada of intersections, and they used the MeoVision technology with artificial intelligence to count the number of near misses that are occurring when pedestrians are crossing the street, as well as when cyclists are crossing the street. And what they've tracked is a really significant number of near misses. We've been hearing about that for 20 years. The Hintenberg Community Association, of which I was a part for so long, was talking about the lack of near miss data in their the city's traffic studies. Now we have details from the CAA about how prevalent near misses are. One of the key responses to dealing with near misses at intersections, particularly busy intersections, is protected intersections. I've got lots more information in that blog post. I am supportive of the protected intersection being built, and I've got my thoughts online. The Champlain Park change designation in order to remove the prohibition on personal alcohol consumption in that park, about which I've written a lot and I've had notes in previous newsletters, is going to be a little bit delayed. I was a little late filing the form to request that designation from the city. Next week there will be a second round of parks with anything that was missed. Signs will go up probably within, by the end of next week maybe, indicating that personal consumption of alcohol is permitted in Champlain Park, subject to the prohibitions on drinking in the proximity of certain park amenities. So a little bit late on that. It won't go into effect on July 1st, but it won't be long until it is. Another note, the Hintenberg 5K and 1K is coming up on July the 13th. That's obviously one of the ward's favorite races. They do need volunteers to ensure that the race can be run safely. If you write to Hintenberg5K@gmail.com, gmail.com. You can volunteer to supervise an intersection or work at the pickup table, and I'd encourage everybody who's not running to do so. This is one of the ward's most important events. The Kitchee Winter Trail is seeking board members. They're looking for board members at large as well as a business sponsor coordinator. Please, service on boards of directors is a critical way to give back to your community. The Kitchee Winter Trail obviously provides so much joy to so many thousands of people, not just in our ward, but right across the city. And serving on their board is a really important way to give back. At City Hall, I know in my last newsletter I spoke a fair bit about the Finance and Finance and Corporate Services Committee that is coming up on June the 30th. It's mostly a series of property acquisitions, nothing that is going to be overly contentious, I don't think. There is an acquisition in Barhaven next to what will eventually be an LRT station. There's a proposal to transfer 172 O'Connor Street to an organization that serves women, and there is also a proposal to acquire some land near where Green Bank is being realigned that would presumably serve as a park and ride down the road. I've got all the details in the newsletter. The Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee is going to meet on July the 3rd. They've got a relatively workaday agenda as well. I think what's actually the most important or interesting item on that agenda is changing their terms of reference. I've given that a good read. They will have purview over more things that are rural related. Nothing though that raises any big red flags for me. There is also going to be a rezoning on Dunrobin, a tweak to the floodplain mapping at a property on Whispering Willow. You can read about all of those on the committee agenda, to which I provided a link in the newsletter. Kitchee, that is it for this week's newsletter. I hope everyone is enjoying a good long weekend if you can. Happy Canada Day, and thanks for watching.